Hey, what's up, guys? Continuing the series now. I've had my silly little explainer videos, but I'm going to actually animate. I really have not had any time to do any animation for the past several weeks, and now we're going to actually try. And I'm going to try to redoing an animation that I had already started. And we're just going to try to do it from scratch because I want to, practice and sort of warm up my rusty skills and see if I can get even better. Um, in the meantime, still thinking about that old lady who does those painting videos that my wife really likes and how chill it is. And I guess in this video, I just want to kind of share the thoughts that I've been having about um, the world, which is like extremely stressful. And yet I want to make this really chill. So I want to first describe the animation that I'm going to make. It is going to be my OC Sally doing a dance, sort of a sexy dance inspired by K-pop girls. She is sort of a comical troll character, um, but I want her to kind of be sort of a mascot for me, um, sort of like a fourth wall breaking character that sort of sees the process of me trying to become a successful storyteller, but along the way she really just makes fun of me and trolls me for not having any money and stuff like that. But it's just kind of a poking fun at myself type of character. Um, but because of like she deep down she does want to help me succeed, um, and she knows that as my mascot, she is going to be part of the process. So very self-aware. But interestingly, in the universe that I want to build, that she is the only character that sort of knows who the creator of the universe is. She's gonna like come across a lot of religious people and kind of make fun of them and be like, "Oh, I actually know what's going on because I can see it." So she is sort of the Moses of my world, sort of the prophet. So kind of a funny character. Green haired, always has these lazy eyes, um, and just likes to poke fun at things. So I'm going to be animating her right now, doing this sort of sexy dance. Um, it's this hip dance popularized by Korean K-pop star Ga-in, who was in the group called Brown Eyed Girls. And they did this dance, which has like been recycled over and over. I know it's not a dance that they invented. Maybe they got it from somewhere. It's just a simple hips side to side dance. Probably made the legs too long here. But what's interesting about this, hold on, it's really dark, so I can't see the delete button. Um, this video because I also want to talk about like looming economic crisis and geopolitical unrest and stuff like that. It's like, how do I, as a poor guy who just draws pictures, how am I supposed, like, I just had a kid, I'm gonna get a new place, like, how am I supposed to hedge against, like, looming economic collapse, if that's even a thing? Like, and the thing I'm thinking about is, like, what's actually gonna happen? Like, what is gonna happen? Um, and there are some things that are predictable. And I guess in another layer here, I am gonna write some notes, so, like, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna draw fire. Like, let's just let this fire symbolize um, everything going to poop, right? So what's gonna happen? So people play the blame game. They're gonna blame anyone but themselves. I personally understand that if the world goes to poop, then it's my fault. And that's honestly a good mentality to have. So the solution here, let's write solution. My fault. That means I can take personal responsibility for anything that happens in my life, even large scale things that seem out of my control. Really, I can have some kind of control. And at least one of those things is to just take care of myself and my family. So that's just something I'm thinking about. And this is just maybe the only note I'll think about because I don't want to talk about the like what is this fire actually is like de-dollarization, right? Is what a lot of people are talking about. Quantitative easing, quantitative easing, uh, and New World Order. That, like, let's say there's some kind of Russia-China India alliance that sort of takes over as a global currency or whatever, and then everyone abandons the dollar. Like this is a lot of things that's just like extremely stressful to think about. But ultimately, I am a poor man who likes to draw pictures, so all of that is a distraction, and I don't want to get distracted by all that and return to drawing Sally doing a sexy dance. And in my mind, this is the solution to all my problems, which is kind of funny, isn't it? But is it really, it can't. So, like me as an entertainer, and that's really ultimately what I am. And a YouTube video like this is probably gonna get like 10 views, not that entertaining. But the point is that I improve it every time and then it scales up. And that's sort of my MO lately. The whole point of this video series is that I improve incrementally every single time. So I still haven't added music, I still not even showing my face. So like those little tiny things are gonna make this better and better. But of course, I don't want to get too carried away, so we are animating here. And I am going to make another video later about the difference between animating and drawing. Let's call this layer Sally. And when you're animating, you don't want to get too caught up in drawing. My brother-in-law, he's like only 10 years old. He's very good at animating, doesn't really know how to draw, and and maybe he doesn't need to understand that drawing is a different skill. Animation is all about movement, and you can do animations and tell stories with stick figures, and that's what he does. So I need to remember that Sally here is a stick figure first, and let's move her body around. And um, we want to first figure out like the pacing, the timing. So let's do like 16 frames here. Let's let that be a nice template. So we want her to move her hip side to side, so we can do a left and then a right. And let's just do the hip. We'll just treat it as like a block. Wait, hold on. Well, one of the reasons the first frame is important is because I want to get the sizes right. I want to get the proportions right. And I think one of the problems when I tried to do this animation last time was that the proportions weren't quite right. And it just looked funny, but not sexy enough. I want a cross between sexy and funny is what I'm going for here with this little animation. So, like, I would act it out myself, but I'm too tired and too lazy to do that. I would just stand up and do the dance myself. I think that's good though. So I'm just going to copy the first frame since we are repeating that movement. And then here we'll move the hip up to the right. Now, I have done animation tutorials in the past, but this is more of a demo than a tutorial. And I personally will prefer doing demos, but if, of course, you guys always have questions for specific tutorials, I will oblige, especially because I need to continue growing my channel. About 4K subscribers right now. I want to get to 1 billion. Basically all the properties and traits I have with this video series, I want to potentially have a learning process to scale everything to infinity. So yeah, I want infinity views, infinity subscribers, which will lead to infinity dollars, which will truly set me free, and I can have infinity children with infinity wives. Who really knows what the limit is? So we will set this frame as a repeat frame, and I need to make sure that after frame 15 that it loops there. And so right now, this 4 frames is already enough to check the timing on the hip alone, because I only drew the hip box. So I'm just going to highlight these frames here, hit my playback button, which is Q. So I can already see that that's too slow, but the hip movement does look nice. Okay, so let's already move them a bit closer, maybe 3 frames apart, which will create a 12 frame loop, 11 frame loop. So let's check that one now. Yeah, that looks good to me. So I'm pretty sure this is the pace I had it before, at 11 frames total, which is not really that hard. So I can already tell that the posture is a bit too tall. So in frame 1, I'm going to sort of scale this down a little bit. Maybe scale her head down. I mean, she has a big head, proportionally, Sally. I think her character design was like 5 or 6 heads tall. But after I do that, I need to switch all the frames to that. So that actually looks fine. So the thing about the folded arms, like right here, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna change this brush into an eraser tool so that when I switch brushes, it just automatically goes to an eraser. Okay, so we'll sort of adjust the size of our rib cage here. And I think with the dance move, the rib cage, the chest, the torso is pretty much, it's like leaning back a little bit. So we will need a bottom plane here. I think that will make sense. Like the whole thing is like leaning back. It's kind of a pelvic thrust, but side to side. So, and then what that means, the arms would be, they're like kind of down. I had the elbows kind of jutting out a little bit, but the arms are kind of down and then in. That looks right. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, that looks much better. So we will copy that one here. Not sure how long this demo is going to be. We're already at 11 minutes, so I might end it soon. Don't want you guys to be bored for too long. But if you guys really want to see me animate, maybe I'll just make it longer. Who knows? Who cares, you know? But again, we want to scale up the value of these videos so that every second you're watching these videos, you'll get up to infinity satisfaction and infinity education. That's what it's all about, guys. We're scaling up. Well, let's at least do the rib cage movement, and then we'll probably end the video right there. Okay? So let's see. So we do want, there's always a squash and stretch here, so maybe we'll angle the spine a little bit. Bottom plane here, because there's a tiny bit of a thrust as she goes to the side. So we will, yeah, sort of lift up this, create a bottom plane here. And the tilt of the spine is not going to be that much. Maybe just like that much. We'll make some slight adjustments. Now the legs, like, are the legs bent slightly? Should they be bent slightly? And are the feet facing forward or are they facing... This was kind of the hard part because I really need to watch the actual dance move again from Gain. I know Nayeon did it in her solo, and then a lot of dance groups will copy that move because it's like such a popular move. And maybe the hip should come down on the neutral frame. Yeah, I think it should. So bring it down a bit more on the middle frame. That might have been too much though. Hold on. Maybe just a couple pixels. Yeah, that's better. Oh, that's much better. See, this is what animating is about, guys. To bring the character to life. You don't have to know how to draw. You just have to take simple shapes and then kind of move them around. So I'm using boxes and sticks right now. Okay, so if the um, torso's leaning back, the head is like slightly tilted down. So actually I want to change the eye plane, the eye line to like slightly tilted down. And sort of giving an upward sultry look. Sally was never meant to be a sexy character, but it's funny because if she would just say something about this video, she's like, I know you're trying to make videos sexy just so that people will keep watching. So I will oblige and do this dance because we have this collective goal that we want to tell this story together. And so maybe we'll give her like a funny smile because she knows like she doesn't really care to do this. Yeah. So storytelling and building characters is all about understanding their personalities. And you don't, if you understand, build like a full personality in the character, the story will tell itself because you ask yourself, you don't ask yourself what are they gonna like. Um, you don't like create the story for them. Basically, you don't figure out the plot points of their life or anything like that. Rather, they have a full personality and background, and then you put them in a situation, and then you ask yourself, what would they do in the situation? And a lot of times you'll be surprised as a writer because you don't really know the answer until they're in the situation. And sometimes I've like changed plot points because it's like, oh, they didn't do what I actually thought they might do. Now that they're in the situation, I feel like maybe they would do something different, and then the story changes. And that's kind of how real life works, and that's how you get like really full, interesting characters. Um, but the problem is that becomes very chaotic because to build a story with meaning, there has to be some sort of message there that's novel and offers something, some kind of new perspective. So to have a bunch of characters, each with their own intentions, creates chaos, and the way to bring order to it is, I guess, like find some kind of truth in the way they all interact with each other. So Sally Waltz is going to be the first. So it's funny because in my mind, like I said, she's the prophet, right? She's like a Jesus of the story. She's like a, um, I mean, she's there from the beginning. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and something like that. So that's Sally to me. And she's there for the production of the story when it's still pixels. She understands that even though all these characters are going to be experiencing the world around them, she's going to be there. Oh, I was there when you were writing the script. I was there when you were animating me to make money on your YouTube channel. I was there when you were poor, right? So let's say I do actually fulfill my goals, SPR being a big cash cow for me. She's going to be like, oh, I was there, you know? It's fun to have it's almost like I've built a little companion for myself, a troll that makes fun of me and also motivates me. Okay, so this hip too far to the left. There, I think this is good. And I think we'll leave it at that for this video. So that was already approaching 20 minutes. So let's play it. For some reason, oh, I think there was an extra frame there that we didn't need. So, okay, so frame 12, we'll copy to frame 0, and then we'll just highlight these frames and let it play back. And then we have hip movement. So I think the torso should move more, but over time, I will continue demonstrating this animation, and we'll get it to look right. Okay? See you guys later.